So that explains why I'm just gonna briefly deviate, then we can come back. That explains why you got licensed in radio. I would imagine that might be
No,
one of the reasons why.
uh, well, yeah, I have a ham license. I have a GMRS license. I also use a lot of commercial radio. So yeah, no, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, sometimes that's your only link.
Mhm,
It's so it's a safety thing because that's another component. You go out on the job. The primary goal is to make it home alive.
mhm,
Secondary goal is to earn money because this is my profession. And then in the mix there too is like I just love being outside. I've seen some sunrises and sunsets and stars and thunderstorms like you wouldn't believe. I mean, it's like being out in the wild all the time. But yeah, it's like the radio part of it is a component where like you want to come back. And uh, interestingly enough, I mean, we there was one of my coworkers and I were out working and we're in a remote location and we rolled up on well, it looked like an abandoned vehicle when we rolled up, but then we really, really quickly found out it was occupied. And it turned out it was a elderly lady that had been stuck out there for 3 days and she was
wow.
right at the edge of death. And we, through radio and cell phone, et cetera, got emergency services in there and got her out alive, which was great. I mean, so it's like that was something that just happened. I mean, but that wasn't like the only time I've ever had emergency extraction on the job. You always try not to have that happen, but I've had other area vacs that we've had to organize on projects. You have injuries or what have you back in the backcountry. Then yeah, it's that was radio's been part of my life for a long time, and even a lot of that goes back to the Navy days too. The CBs are kind of a little self-contained unit. I did a lot of radio when I was in there too. Or that you you do all sorts of different jobs. You don't just have one job. And yeah, I can remember even back in my Navy days, so like we'd be at our primary location that we're going to be building, but we needed to get uh, VHF or UHF radio link back to base camp. And a lot of times that involved setting up a repeater. Well, the repeater is way the heck up on a mountaintop somewhere. And so then you're wandering off on your own to go set that thing up. And then it's like if you get injured on the way to or from there, then you're holding a radio. So you're gonna use that to, call for air evac or for extraction. So that's but the reason I got licensed was it was COVID. So it was like everybody, like you're at home and going stir crazy. And I think back in the a long time ago, I didn't get licensed in ham because they had a Morse code requirement and I just never learned my Morse code. I mean, this is getting kind of crazy technology, but uh they call it CW that, where dits and das, and
Mhm.
that literally still is a viable communication mechanism. Obviously, it's not as interesting as the bandwidth that we're on right now with color, video, and audio and high fidelity audio and all of that. But yeah, that was the big thing why I went in and got my ham license. I haven't done much with it. I've just played around mostly with UHF and VHF radio. There's tons of different radio spectrum you can have, but the GMRS, which is General Mobile Radio Service, is another VHF radio. It's point to point line of sight radio that you can use um, with repeaters, which gives you more coverage over a longer distance. And I use that one with the family. When we're out and about. Last time I used my GMRS with the family was we're out sledding. I think so. It's the teen daughter and the older, granddaughters are out there with the one radio and they're off on their own. It's like, okay, well, I have minimum comm because we don't have any cell coverage out where we're at. And, they got one in the car and one that I got and talk about nerdy. But yeah. Anyway,
Well,
WRSD 281, that's my GMRS.